Did you know that the Titanic was never christened? Yes, that's right. The ill-fated ship that has captivated our imaginations for over a century had no formal ceremony to mark its entry into the water. This is just one of the many overlooked facts about the Titanic that we'll delve into today. Our tale begins in the late 19th century, with the birth of J. Bruce Ismay in 1862. Ismay, the man who would later become the managing director of the White Star Line, was instrumental in the conception of the Titanic. Yet his reputation suffered a severe blow after the disaster, as he was one of the few male passengers who survived, leading to accusations of cowardice. Scene script, fast forward to 1907, and we find ourselves in London, where the initial plans for the Titanic were laid out. The ship was to be the largest and most luxurious of its time. However, contrary to popular belief, it was not deemed unsinkable by its creators. That term was the product of later newspaper reports. As we move into 1909, the construction of the Titanic officially begins in Belfast, Northern Ireland. The ship was built by some 15,000 workers over a period of 2 years. The construction process was far from smooth though, with over 240 reported accidents including 6 fatalities. The Titanic began its maiden voyage on April 10, 1912 from Southampton, England. On board were over 2,200 passengers and crew members. Among them was the ship's captain, Edward Smith, who, despite his experience, made a series of decisions that contributed to the disaster. Notably, he ignored several iceberg warnings on the fateful night. After striking an iceberg on the night of April 14th, the Titanic sank in the early hours of April 15, 1912. Over 1,500 people lost their lives, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. But did you know that there were only 20 lifeboats on board? Enough for barely half of the passengers? This was due to outdated maritime safety regulations. In the aftermath of the tragedy, numerous inquiries and legal proceedings took place. The sinking of the Titanic led to significant changes in maritime law, including the establishment of the International Ice Patrol and the requirement for sufficient lifeboats for all passengers on board. To recap, we've explored the life of J. Bruce Ismay, the conception and construction of the Titanic, its ill-fated maiden voyage, and the aftermath of the disaster. We've learned that the Titanic was never officially christened, was not originally called unsinkable, and that there were only enough lifeboats for half the passengers. We've also discovered that the aftermath of the tragedy led to significant changes in maritime law. The story of the Titanic is a stark reminder of the fallibility of human ambition and the unpredictable power of nature. It's a tale that continues to fascinate us, filled with lessons we should never forget.